a big shift between what I call stage one companies, where the person in charge, the owner or CEO, is actively involved in customer interaction. So they're doing primarily selling, or they're doing a lot of the fulfillment themselves. Like you said, the chef that's coming out to visit all the restaurant people. Um, a stage two company, you have people in charge to do that. You have salespeople that are responsible and good at selling. You have fulfillment people who are good at that. You, as the owner, now are more internally focused on building the team, building the structure, hiring the right people. That's a different skill set. And it takes working with a coach to get from one of those to the next one to make your company much more valuable. Now you have something to sell that doesn't depend on you being there.
Eh, One of the things that I've come across, and I'm curious your thoughts here, is I've talked to so many owners, and they will say my problems are unique. And on some level, sometimes they are unique, right? They might have a special case of dealing with an employee or some kind of contract situation or whatever. But by and large, the problems are usually the same. They just have a little. It's like going to Baskin Robbins. You get vanilla ice cream. This one has chocolate syrup. This one has whipped cream. It's pretty much the same base, a little bit different topping. Has that been your experience as well? That owners kind of feel they have a unique problem, but really it's not that much different from everyone else, and it's okay to admit that you're stuck because most of us are.
Yeah, I think the way I say it in the output thinking book is at the highest level, all of the outputs in the company, in every company, fill the same seven buckets. So there's selling, there's fulfillment, there's people, there's money, there's planning, there's all these different things that all look the same at the highest level. The details of how you do that can differ. So, how you cut an invoice in your company might be very different from the way I cut an invoice in my company, either because of what we're selling or the software that we use or whatever. But if you break those down into those levels, the outputs are, oh, I need to get an invoice so I can get paid, you know. And if we can see patterns, which if in 30 years of coaching with business owners, I've seen a lot of patterns. uh, you can solve those things by things that you've seen before.
So you mentioned a minute ago stage one and stage two companies. Do you have some metrics that you would use to define that, or is it just as the owner has to be involved? Is it employees, revenue? Is there a way to think about that more broadly?
I have a chart that goes over, I think it's about 10 or 12 different categories, but the biggest one is, where does the owner spend their time? If they're focused on customers, then it's typically a stage one company. If they are focused internally, then they have other people to do the customer facing work, the selling and the fulfillment and all that. And they're focused, like I said, on building the team. Um, and so that's the main criteria, is where does the owner spend their time? And then there's a stage three company, which is now it's being called a hold company, a hold co, where there are sometimes a person in charge, might be the COO, might be called president. They might have be a division head. They have P&L responsibility for that aspect of the business. And the owner of a holding company is now looking for other companies to buy, or other companies to fold into the organization that they do. So they're, again, outwardly focused, but now not on the customers. They're now focused on the industry and maybe buying or selling.
Okay, so if someone's watching this, they might go, Ryan, I don't know about John, but Ryan, you have a stage one company. Why? What's wrong with that? And for me, I have an answer for why I have stage one. I sold a stage two, by your definition. Would you consider yourself a stage one? And what's the difference between deciding to go from stage one to stage two in your mind, from an exit standpoint or from any standpoint, I should say?
There's nothing wrong with any of this. It's your company. It should serve your life. I literally had a client, and I was working with her. She did sales training, and I was explaining, we'd been working together probably 6 or 8 months already. And I explained this to her, and she said, I don't want to be a stage two. I like that interaction with the customers. And I said, great, be really good at what you do, raise your prices so you can serve the top of the market and have a blast. You're not going to be able to sell that company. One of the ways to look at a stage one company that can't be sold is a practice. So a neurosurgeon, they can make a lot of money, but they can't sell their practice because it's them. A rock star, an athlete, they can sell their name and they can sell their endorsements and all that stuff, but they're making money because of who they are. Now, there are a lot of other companies that can be scaled up, plumbing companies or HVAC companies or retail stores or whatever, that may at the beginning depend on the owner being customer facing. But those can be scaled up and the owner can pull back.
Yeah, and I would say so. The company I sold was a stage two. The company I have now is stage one. And I would say that, to your point, if you want to be a stage one, stay stage one, great. Just understand that you have to figure out how to maximize your profit, your margins, because there is no big payday coming down the road. And so just keep that in mind. I think a lot of owners don't, they kind of miss that. Like, oh, when I get to the end, I'll sell this thing. It's like, no, well, you might sell. I'm a capitalist, so you can sell anything for anything, I guess you could say. But reality is the big payday that you're thinking won't be there unless you go to stage two, right? So if you want to be a stage one, just do all your retirement planning and all that stuff around that mentality. But if you ever expect that big payday, because I've talked to owners in their 60s ready to retire and they're expecting a couple $1,000,000 to sell. And it's like, no, this is not worth much. Unfortunately, I feel bad. It's like, it's not worth much. It's just not going to get
Yeah,
what you want.
you can sell it for parts. You can sell the
Yeah.
customer list. You can sell the equipment, and that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, uh, in my life now, I have gotten rid of all the bigger companies, the stage two companies that I had. I'm mostly retired, but my line is I don't play golf. So I'm still working with entrepreneurs. I still love doing that. But that's a practice for me. I'm not building a big coaching company. I'm not, I have a limited number of clients that I work with, and I work, very intensely with them because I enjoy it. And that's my stage one company at this stage in my life. I wouldn't be that way if I was in my 30s,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
it's your business. It goes back to your business should serve your life and get what you want from it and build the kind of company that's going to serve the kind of life that you want. I have a client. I actually wrote about him in the book and hadn't talked to him in a while. We stopped working together and I've recently reconnected. And what he did was he built his company up. They were in different, a special part of the car business, aftermarket stuff. And he was selling a lot of product to a major, I think a $2 billion corporation, and they wanted to buy his company. So he sold them, I think it was 40% of it, and they got a right of first refusal on the rest. When they were ready to buy the rest, he sold the rest to them. But he was also able to carve out a another set of territories that he built up on his own. And now he's got all this money from his sale because none of it depended on him. And now he's got these other, I think, 7 different locations that he just manages remotely. And he says, I'm involved in a couple of the financial decisions now and then. I said, what's the main problem facing you right now? He says, how to spend my money. So good
Tell them
problems
to
to
call
have.
me. Tell them
Yeah.
I got some spots you can invest in. So, well, and that kind of leads me to this, which is I used to even say that there was two types of business, lifestyle and kind of a traditional. But now I've kind of shifted my thinking that any business can be a quote lifestyle business if kind of what you said is build your life around the business you want, or maybe I said backwards what you said, but in essence, the goal of the owner is to build a business to serve the customer, but to keep in mind that they have a life that they have to live too, right? And so you should build your business if it's stage one or stage two with that in mind. And we have so many resources now on how to go from stage one to stage two, whereas 1992 is probably a little bit harder. I mean, we didn't have the internet like you were talking about earlier. Now there's all kinds of tools and accessible tools that you can get your hands on. And so I think a lot of owners just have to make that decision. Am I going to be stage one? Am I going to be stage two? Is there anything that you've learned from your years of experience of what makes someone make that jump that's successful versus someone who fails from going to stage one to stage two?
I think it's more the opposite. More people are afraid of going to stage two. And so they're afraid of having to deal with employees and stuff. So they stay small and they don't see how to get there. And that's really the thing that keeps them back. And others look at it and say, okay, that's not what I want. And that's fine too. But if you want to get to that stage two where the thing can grow and really produce some wealth when you sell, there are certainly ways to do it.